My name is Midnight. I'm calling with the Census Bureau. How are you doing today? I'm doing well. Do you have 20 to 30 minutes to conduct a survey of your household demographics? Okay, sure. So I'd like to start by just verifying that you are aware that this call is monitored and recorded for quality and training purposes. Okay, wonderful. And next, if you have access to a phone or a computer, I just wanted you to go to censusbureau.gov. I'm going to send a one-time text message code to your cell phone. If you could just go to the verification portal on censusbureau.gov and type that in, it will give you verification that I am a authorized Census Bureau employee. Okay, just let me know when you completed that step. Okay, great. And you again are aware that this call is being monitored or recorded. Okay, and we'll just go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm just going to first start out with some identifying information. If at any time you need additional information about the question that I'm asking, please just stop me and ask, and I will give you additional details. Okay, great. Let's get started. Okay, first question is, could you just provide your first, middle, and last name? Okay. Thank you. And what is your birthday? Thank you. And your email address? All right, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And would you like a copy of your survey sent to your email following this call? Okay, perfect. And for completing the survey today, you will receive a $200 Visa gift card in the mail. That's correct, yes. Would you please provide the mailing address where you would like that sent? And the zip code? Okay, thank you so much. And now we will just move on to the questions about your household. It's a household overview, okay? Great. Okay, the first question is going to be, how many individuals live in your household, to include dependents and non-dependents? Okay, and could you please list the ages of all the non-dependents? Okay, and then the ages of all the dependents. Thank you. Okay, and last year, what was your annual household income, to include any alimony support, child support, or other income that you received? Okay, and do you consider yourself married or single? Okay, thank you. And on last year's taxes, did you file married jointly or filed separately? Thank you. Okay, and then next we have, do any of the other non-dependents in your household support you by paying any of the bills in your household? Okay, so it's a multi-generational household. Thank you. Okay, and are any of the non-dependents unemployed? Okay, and then I'm going to list a couple sectors. Can you please provide the sector of your employment? 1 second. Okay, here we go. So we have public service, security, finance, small business, blue collar manufacturing, construction and development. Okay, so your finance. Okay. And your husband. Okay. And the other non-dependent in your household? Okay, perfect. And then could you please list the ages of the dependents again? I'm sorry. Okay, and do the dependents receive public or private education? Okay, and then, okay, and do you pay out of pocket for childcare services for any of the dependents? And which dependents was that? Okay, thank you. And what is the highest level of education by any non-dependent that has been completed in your household? Okay, and what is the highest level of education for the other 2 non-dependents in your household? Okay, and do you or anyone else in your household own a vehicle? And how many total vehicles does the household have access to on a regular basis? Is there public transportation available within 1 mile of your home? No? Okay. Okay, and you stated that you did pay out of pocket for dependent child care last year. Okay, and could you please verify the category within which your financial out-of-pocket expense for that child care was? I'll just list it right here. 1 second. Alright, so category 1 would be 0 to 500. Category 2 would be 500 to 1500. Category 3 would be 1500 to 3000. Category 4 would be 3000 to 5000. And category 5 would be 5000 to 8000. And then category 6 is anything above $8,000. Okay, so you paid out of pocket and then you got the tax deduction for how much? Okay, so we'll list you as category 3. Yes. Okay, and none of the individuals in your house that are above the age of 18 are dependents, correct? Okay. And what is your race? Okay. And what are the races of the dependents in your household? Okay, the same. Perfect. And what about the other other 2 non-dependents in the household? Okay. Thank you. Okay, and does everyone in the household have access to health care, public or private health care? Okay, and you said private? Okay, and who is the primary holder of the insurance then? You are? Okay, as I said, we'll just move on to the public subsidiary section, okay? Okay, do you have access to clean water at your household? Okay, and do you use public water or do you have well water? Okay, and do you have public sewage or a septic tank? Okay, and has that been serviced within the last 10 years? Okay, and you stated you do not have public transportation within 1 mile of your home. If you did not have access to a vehicle, what would be any other option that you had? Okay, and do your children use public transportation for school? You transport them? Do they have an option for a bus? Okay. And what is the closest distance that you have to seek public care, health care, like a hospital or a clinic? 10 miles, okay. And did you seek public health care at that location at any time in the last year? Okay, and you have electricity in your home. Do you have any concerns on the continuity of that electricity? And have you had any power breaks longer than 1 day in the last year? Okay. And in the last year, have you had any challenges getting access to public health care, food, or public dentist? No issues? Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Let me just take note of that. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on from the subsidiary section. We're now just going to go into questions about your house. Okay. All right. So you currently live in what type of house? Apartment, single family home, condo? Single family home. Okay. And how much property does the single family home sit on? Uh-huh. Okay. And do you have any pets in the home? Okay. And what is the square footage of your household? Just please list the category. 1 second. All right. Category 1 is 500 to 1,000 square feet. Category 2 is 1,000 to 2,000 square feet. Category 2 is 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. Category 4 is 4,000 to 5,000 square feet. Category 6 is 5,000 to 6,000 square feet. Do I need to keep going? No? Okay, category 4. And how many bedrooms are in your home? And how many bathrooms are in your home? Okay, and do you have any farm animals that live on your property or livestock? Okay, you have chickens. How many? And one rooster. Okay. And have you had any issues around your home in the last year with any natural disasters such as hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, floods? Okay, and does your house have homeowners insurance? Okay, and do you have private, separate flood or fire protection in your home? And approximately how much did you pay for this separate fire and flood insurance last year? 1 second, I will provide you the categories. Alright, category 1 is 0 to 500. Category 2 is 500 to 1500. Category 3 is 1500 to 3000. Category 4 is 3000 to 6000. Okay. Category 3. Okay. And does your home have a basement? And is it finished? Okay. Is there a sump pump there for flooding concerns? Thank you. And what year was your home built, if you know? 2021? Okay. And so you have probably not had a roof replacement in the last 30 years since the house was just built in 2021, correct? Just have to verify. No roof replacement. Okay. Do you have any concerns about the integrity of your home being able to withstand major weather events? Okay. Just gonna take a note here and then we'll move to the next section of the survey, okay? Okay, so we're gonna just move on to the financial portion. Again, any financial information that you disclose today will be submitted anonymously as part of the census questionnaire, and it will not be tied back to or affiliated with your household and the results in any way. You understand? Okay, so some of the questions may be a repeat slightly of some of the other questions that you asked, but it will have more detailed response question, okay? Okay. All right, so what is the income of your total household last year? Okay, and do you remember an estimate of how much how much federal income tax that you paid? Okay, and do you have a 401k or a Roth IRA that you contribute to? Okay, and approximately how much did you contribute to that last year? You can start with the 401k. Okay, and the Roth IRA. Okay, great. And how many secured loans do you have currently in your household? Do we want to estimate? Okay, a secured loan would be defined as a loan that is secured with the evaluation of a physical item or object, such as a car or a house. So this would include mortgages, vehicle loan, boats. Okay. Okay, so for your mortgage, what do you pay for a month for that? Okay. Yes, that's correct. Okay, and for the first vehicle loan? And the second vehicle loan. Okay. And do you have more than $1,000 in savings? Okay. And are any of your children that are in college FAFSA eligible? And at any time last year, did you qualify for government assistance to include unemployment? Okay, and other than your primary employer, do you have any side employment? And have you had any side employment in the last 5 years? Yes? Okay, and what was that? Your sewing business? You still have that currently? Okay, and how many hours per month would you say that you devote to that? 5 hours? Okay. And at any time last year, did you have concerns on your ability to financially provide food, amenities, or education for your children? What about healthcare? One second. Okay, and do you currently have any student loan debt? No? Okay. Have you had any student loan debt in the past 5 years? Okay, and do you, to your knowledge, are you delinquent on any debt or have any judgments against you? Thank you. Okay, and now I'm just going to ask a couple questions about continuity in your household in the event of a disaster. Okay. So you mentioned earlier I asked a question about threats of natural disasters in your area, and you provided a response. Based on that response, do you have any concerns about continuity of electricity or water access for your household in relation to a natural disaster? Okay, do you have a secondary source of food other than a public food source for your household? Okay, thank you. Do you have a generator at your house in the event that electric power grid was not active? Okay, and how much time could that provide electricity to your household on average? Okay, and it is gas or solar? Okay. Okay. I'll add that. Thank you. Alright. And finally, just a couple high-level questions regarding your household's education status. Okay, so you list education levels for everyone in your household. Do the current jobs that they are employed by utilize those that education as a requirement for their employment? Okay, and does anyone in your household, I know you said you do not have student loans, anyone else in your household? Okay, and could you list the institutions where you and the other non-dependents in your household receive their public education? Okay. 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 And is anyone currently continuing their education, higher education in your household? Okay, and who is that? And where? Okay, perfect. And then finally, I just have a couple questions. These are just health and public safety questions that I have to ask at the end of every survey, okay? Sure. Do you have any concerns on your ability to access clean food and water for your family? Okay. Do you currently have any, are you currently under any physical or emotional distress? Do you worry that you may be in the future? Okay. Thank you. All right. Are there any concerns in general for you to be able to provide for your family's basic public needs over the next 30 days? Okay. And is anyone else in your household, to your knowledge, suffering from emotional, physical, or mental distress? Okay. Thank you very much. As I stated, you will be receiving the the $200 gift card today for completing the survey. We typically mail that to you. I just want to go ahead and verify your address one more time for that. Okay, and that will be addressed to you. You stated you would like a copy of your survey responses emailed to you. Is that correct? Okay, and what is a good email for you? Okay. Okay, and just a short disclaimer. Let me just read this to you. Today you completed a national census. As a result of completion of the national census, you agree to submit all of your questions in accordance with the responses that you provided to the agent. Is that correct? If so, please state yes. Thank you. You understand that no responses that you provided today would result in affiliation of those responses back to you or any individual in your household as part of the public results. Please answer yes if you understand. Okay, and finally, you understand that all of your responses that you provided today are available to you in a response questionnaire that can be mailed or emailed to you at your discretion. Do you understand? Okay, and then finally, you understand that you have 30 days to request this questionnaire before it will no longer be available to be sent or emailed to you. Okay. Thank you. And then finally, you consent to the monitoring and recording of the phone call that you were notified of at the beginning, and you consent to the submission of all of the responses that you provided today as part of the national survey. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, it was a pleasure speaking with you as well. Oh, you're very kind. So I'm going to go ahead and submit everything for your household. If you could just stand by for just another moment while I get everything submitted. Okay, perfect. I've submitted your survey today. Do you have any other questions for me? Okay, thank you again so much for taking in our survey, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.